Welcome back to Navigating the Streams. I'm Mike DeLong, and I've gathered all the new movies coming to your streaming services in one place so you don't have to. I've got what's coming out next month, plus a look back to see what I missed in March, which is a crazy amount of stuff. Without further ado, let's see what's coming in April. As always, we'll start with Netflix. We've got 3 movies coming out on the 1st. First one is Eat, Pray, Bark. It's a comedy where 5 dog owners go to an alpine training camp for their pets, only to find out that they will be receiving the training. Next up on the 1st is It Takes a Village. It's a Polish rom-com where financial troubles force Helena to cancel her wedding, but her family forms a wild plan to bring tourists to town to help support her. And finally on the 1st, the Argentinian drama The Giant Falls. A tour guide confronts old wounds when his long-lost father resurfaces. On the 3rd, Feel My Voice comes out. It's an Italian drama where a girl raised in a deaf family discovers she has a beautiful singing voice, which leads her to make a choice between the needs of her family and her dreams. It sounds like an Italian version of the Best Picture winner Coda, which was a movie I really liked. Also on the 3rd, The Truth and Drama of Moriah Wilson. It's a true crime documentary about the death of cyclist Moriah Wilson. On the 4th, Merrily We Roll Along comes out. It's a recording of the Broadway revival of the musical with Daniel Radcliffe. On the 7th, a comedy special by Shang Wang called Purple comes out. On the 9th, 18th Rose comes out. It's a Filipino drama about a teen who helps a lonely new girl have the perfect debut, only for real feelings to complicate their plan. On the 10th, the horror thriller Thrash comes out. A Category 5 hurricane not only brings in a huge storm surge, but also hungry sharks. On the 13th, Noah Kahan Out of Body comes out. It's a documentary where Kahan explores his rise to fame while struggling with mental health challenges. We have 2 movies coming out on the 17th. First, a South African thriller called 180, and a comedy called Roommates. A naive freshman asks a more confident girl to be her roommate, which backfires on her. On the 19th, there are 2 movies that would make an interesting double feature. First off, the psychological horror movie Him. A football prospect descends into a world of horror when he goes to train with a legendary champion. And second, Baby Finn's sing-along movie Into the Pink Fong. Bora and Brody must find Baby Finn, who vanished into a magical tablet, before that tablet's batteries run out. On the 22nd, Lainey Wilson, Keepin' Country Cool comes out. It's a musical documentary following Lainey Wilson's rise from small-town girl to Grammy winner. On the 24th, the action thriller Apex comes out. Charlize Theron plays an adrenaline junkie who goes to conquer some rapids, only to find herself hunted by Taron Egerton. On the 26th, Begonia comes to Netflix after being on Peacock. On the 29th, Je m'appelle Agenta comes out. It's a Swedish drama where a woman leaves her life in Sweden to become an au pair in France, but cares for an elderly man instead of a child, leading her to self-discovery, based on the book. The Travelers is also coming to Netflix this month, but doesn't yet have a release date. A stage designer returns to her small town to say goodbye to her mother, only for it to become emotional and chaotic. I have a few recommendations for Netflix. First, Scream from 2022. It's the series revival with new cast members Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega. 2 movies I feel I watched a lot on HBO as a kid, Smokey and the Bandit 1 and 2. All of the Mission Impossible series, but I'm going to highlight my favorites, the original Mission Impossible and Ghost Protocol. Arnold Schwarzenegger's best comedy, Kindergarten Cop, and the Oscar-nominated Atonement. Okay, strap yourself in, because there's a lot that came out on Netflix last month that wasn't announced before I made my video. First up, Nuremberg, last year's drama about Nazi trials post-World War II. Made in Korea, an Indian woman moves to South Korea, a place she's always wanted to live, but struggles to find her footing. Barbara, Becoming Shirin David, a German musical doc. Funky, an Indian comedy. A whole bunch of comedy specials. First, Derek Stroop, Nostalgic. Mark Normand, None Too Pleased. Filipino comic Alex Calleja, Past is Past. Jeff Ross, Take a Banana for the Ride. And Aaron Chen, Funny Garden. A movie I've been waiting for, Sisu, Road to Revenge. sequel to an amazing movie, which I will have a review out for next month, Anaconda, Thai drama The Red Line, another movie I've been waiting for, 28 years later, The Bone Temple, and Clicker, a musician starts dealing drugs to support his family. Next up is Hulu. On the 3rd, Pizza Movie comes out. It's a comedy where inebriated college students go to retrieve their pizza, which is 2 floors up, with Gaten Matarazzo from Stranger Things. On the 4th, Primitive War comes out. It's an action horror movie where a recon unit during the Vietnam War goes to search for some missing Green Berets, but finds something completely different. On the 6th, Surat comes out. It's a Spanish drama where a father and son go looking for his missing daughter in the North African desert rave scene. This was nominated for Best Sound and Foreign Language Film this year. On the 9th, the animated movie Pets on a Train comes out. Animals get caught up in a high-speed train heist. On the 14th, Skydiving comes out. It's a documentary where a troubled airport worker steals a commercial jet and then reflects on issues on mental health and class struggles. On the 17th, Shelby Oaks comes out. YouTuber Chris Stuckman writes and directs this horror movie about a woman who goes looking for her missing sister, which leads to a mystery about an unknown evil. There are 2 things coming out on the 24th. First, a comedy special by Nikki Glazer called Good Girl, and No Other Choice, the South Korean dark comedy where a man loses his job and decides to eliminate the competition in order to get it back. Many people thought that this would be an Oscar contender, but it failed to make the cut. On the 25th, there's a horror thriller told from a dog's perspective called Good Boy. A dog moves with his owner to the family's rural farm only to discover supernatural forces that threaten the owner. 2 quick recommendations on Hulu. Moon with Sam Rockwell, which is a much better space clone movie than Mickey 17 will ever be. And the 90s movie My Life with Michael Keaton and Nicole Kidman. Michael Keaton plays a man who will soon be a father, but finds out he has a terminal illness, which leads him to make plans for his wife and future child. Hulu also released some big movies that came out after I made my last video. First, it was Just an Accident, an Iranian drama that was a nominee for Best Foreign Language Film. 1938, Cuando el Petroleo Fue Nuestro, a Mexican biopic. The Secret Agent, an Argentinian drama that was nominated for Best Picture and Best Foreign Language Film. Sentimental Value, the Norwegian drama that was nominated for Best Picture and won Best Foreign Language Film. And finally, Is This Thing On?, a dramedy directed by Bradley Cooper that many thought would be an awards contender, but wasn't. If you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe, and share it on your socials so your friends don't miss out on any new movies too. HBO Max is next. On the 10th, the sports biopic Christy comes out with Sydney Sweeney. It's about the life and career of the most successful female boxer of the 90s, Christy Martin. On the 14th, the documentary The Dark Wizard comes out. Dean Potter, no relation to Harry, confronts his personal struggles while accomplishing stunning feats as a climber, base jumper, and highline walker. On the 17th, the horror thriller Dust Bunny comes out. An 8-year-old asks her neighbor for help killing the monster under her bed. And finally, on the 24th, Marty Supreme. Marty Mauser talks himself into and out of several different situations in pursuit of becoming a ping pong champion. 3 quick recommendations: the Jennifer Lawrence comedy No Hard Feelings, classic horror movie Alien, and its action sequel Aliens. Next up is Prime. On the 3rd, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. The IMF must stop the entity, an AI that has infiltrated global intelligence, before it changes the world forever. On the 15th, the comedy Balls Up comes out. 2 marketers pitch a condom sponsorship for the World Cup, but must outrun chaos after a scandal breaks out. Also on the 15th, the historical drama Sarah's Oil comes out. Sarah Rector, a child who's half African American, half Native American, believes there's oil on her portion of Indian territory. On the 16th, Jerry West, The Logo comes out. It's a documentary that shows the final interviews with the basketball legend that discusses his mental health issues, failed marriage, and struggles with fatherhood. We've got 2 movies coming out on the 17th. The first is Vengeance, a Tamil drama where a young woman will cross any boundary to fulfill her purpose. And last year's The Running Man will come to Prime after being on Peacock. On the 21st, the horror movie The Conjuring Last Rites comes out. The Warrens take on one final paranormal case. And finally, on the 24th, Regretting You. A mother and daughter deal with the aftermath of a devastating accident and the drama it reveals. A few quick recommendations on Prime. American Fiction, winner of one of the best screenplay Oscars a couple years back. Being John Malkovich, one classic from 1999. Far and Away with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. A personal favorite, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, one of the funniest horror movies of the 80s. And Mel Brooks spoof, Spaceballs. I also missed a few movies on Prime. First, Shadow Force. An estranged couple goes on the run from their Shadow Ops former employer. The dramedy Roofman with Channing Tatum. He plays a criminal on the run hiding in a Toys R Us and forming a relationship with a woman played by Kirsten Dunst. The documentary Meal Ticket about the McDonald's basketball tournament for high school seniors. A Spanish spy thriller called Zeta. And Mercy, the sci-fi thriller that came out earlier this year. A man must convince an AI judge, jury, and executioner that he did not kill his wife. One quick new release from Peacock. On the 3rd, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 comes out. 1 year after the original, dark secrets about the origins of Freddy's are revealed. 2 quick recommendations include the spoof comedy Airplane and my favorite movie from 2024, Nosferatu. We also have one release from Disney+. On the 22nd, the documentary Orangutan comes out. An adolescent female orangutan prepares to leave her family for the first time. I did miss one thing on Disney Plus last month as well, Zootopia 2. And finally, Apple TV. On the 10th, Outcome comes out with Keanu Reeves. A Hollywood star must confront his problems and atone for his past. That's all we have for this month. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this streaming video. This month had better releases, but man, I wish the streamers would release everything before I made these videos. My next video will be a review roundup of everything I watched in February, followed by everything I watched in March. Thanks, and I'll see you again soon.